Welcome, I'm Pam, and welcome to Your Perfect Weight Made Easy, our blog where we practice and experiment with the structures and behaviors that make losing weight and maintaining it easy. We're talking this week about food addiction. I know the word addiction is harsh, but our brains are really wired to crave sweets and fruits and candies and cookies and all those wonderful things we find so easily now. And the problem is that manufacturers totally know that about us. In fact, bakeries and restaurants and food manufacturers look for the foods that we crave. They know that if we crave them, we'll buy more of them, and they're in the business to sell food, aren't they? So they tend to put lots of sugar, fat, salt, and especially high fructose corn syrup into the foods. And then they measure that. They measure how much we desire those foods with a term they call desirability. They look at how much moreness we want and how much craving we have. Our goal if we're on a diet is to find ways to have less craving and need less moreness. So it's kind of a sabotage for us that we can learn how to control. So sugar is not the culprit that we sometimes think it is. Our bodies need about 1 teaspoon a day of sugar. The problem is that eating a typical American diet, we get on average 26 teaspoons, way too much, and that is the equivalent of 135 pounds in 1 year. Way more sugar than we need. If you read food labels, you'll be absolutely blown away. In fact, one of my favorite foods is peanut butter, and when I read the label on here, the second ingredient after peanuts is, of course, sugar and then salt. The same thing is true with my favorite bread. In fact, my favorite bread, I'm not going to show it because I don't want you to see the label, but my favorite bread, when I was looking at it, high fructose corn syrup is one of the top ingredients, and then sugar right after it. Those foods can lead us into a state of moreness and desirability that just create temptation and make our whole dieting program difficult. Your addiction to these foods is a food marketer's dream, but it is not our dream in losing weight and having it be easy. So some tips for making weight loss simpler. Number one is what we talked about in our blog last week, creating a compelling image of ourselves thin, trim, sexy, vital, energetic, and then really being excited about that. The second step, and the one that we're going to be looking at this week, is creating a list of our red light foods and finding a way that we can avoid them. If you take out a sheet of paper and then list the foods that you absolutely have a difficult time avoiding. You know, for me, it is the high starch foods like spaghetti and rolls. I'm also very tempted by sugary snacks and candies and cookies and things like that. You might find that you're really drawn to salt or high-fat foods like cheese. Also, if you're like me, you may even find that you're drawn to all of them. The key is sit down, take the time, and really make a list of all the foods that you have a hard time controlling the amount that you eat. Now, I know we talked last week about the wonderfulness of Your Perfect Weight Made Easy because we're not talking about being strict and having lots of rules. But imagine how much easier it would be to be following a food plan that didn't have you craving more and more. Think about how simple it would be to learn how to resist those foods. And by focusing on foods that don't have a high cravability index in your body, I think you'll find that losing weight will be much easier. Your Perfect Weight Made Easy is all about feeling fabulous. What I'd love for you to do is create this list and recognize that while you're in the process of losing weight, you want to avoid those foods. Once we're in the maintenance phase, we may be able to add a lot of those back in limited amounts or in controlled environments. But for right now, make that list. Make a commitment to avoid those foods during the 16 weeks or so we have until summer is in full swing, and recognize that your perfect weight will be a much easier process. If you're feeling like it's really high deprivation, think about this question. Would you rather be focused on moreness and falling into the hands of the manufacturer's dreams? Or would you rather be able to step into the beautiful vision of you, comfortable, without that but? You know, we're talking about being jiggle-free all over for this summer. Make the commitment. Think about it. Email me and let me know. Have a wonderful week. Contact me with the email with any questions that you may have. Next week, we're going to be looking at the ingredients for a perfect, healthy, easy to sustain food plan. And have a fabulous week. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you again soon.